Hello, welcome to Realtors Making a Difference. My name is Louis Duarte. I'm your host and also a broker associate with Terra Antigua Realty here in Tucson, Arizona, and a broker in San Diego, California. Realtors all over the country are not only selling homes, but they're making a difference in their community. Each episode, we interview a realtor that is doing just that. And today I'm really proud and honored to be interviewing Karen DeMarco. I watched her video on YouTube and I was totally inspired. Karen, we're really glad that you're here on the show. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you got involved in real estate?
I was involved with sales for a really long time and I love sales. And I was actually selling advertising and marketing to a real estate agent and a broker, and he talked me into going to real estate school. And I did it really because I had 3 young children, and it was a great way to make a living, but still be able to make my own hours and be a very hands-on mom and not miss anything for school. So I primarily did it for my kids.
I always say that if you want to hire somebody good, hire a lady with 3 kids. Because they know how to juggle, right?
That's right.
Oh, I understand it was a bout of cancer that inspired you to start your charity drive, Food Brigade. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I will say that what the inspiration was after I had a double mastectomy, and that basically put me out of commission for cooking for my family. And what happened was neighbors that I knew and neighbors that I didn't know all stepped up and they did a meal train for my family, which made it so we had great home cooked meals, a couple of takeout meals, but we had food literally at our doorstep every night between 5 and 6 for a couple of weeks. And that actually inspired me to start a Food Brigade group called the Meal Brigade. And because I wanted to give back to my local community, because I saw how impactful it was for me and my family, that I wanted to do the same for others. So we actually started the Meal Brigade on Facebook, which ended up, it was for something, whether somebody needed a meal for a week or a month, it didn't matter. There was a death in the family, loss of job, an illness in the family, whatever the case was. If somebody needed help, we put together a group of people that wanted to be part of it, and it was very easy to do it with social media.
Oh, that's great. That's a great story.
You know?
Social media certainly has helped us, um, reach out to just different people, and you never know what's going to happen. The results
Right.
that you get on social media.
Right. What happened was it was as a result of the Food Brigade that I had somebody who reached out to me because they were stopping the Meals on Wheels program locally, and a lot of the seniors were going to be in trouble during COVID. And what ended up happening was I thought we were going to be able to take the Meal Brigade to the next step and have everybody jump in. But because we were working with the municipality, they basically said, no, we can't have that many cooks in the kitchen. So as a result, because I volunteered to do everything with the Food Brigade, but then found out I couldn't have other families cooking, I ended up making 1,800 meals in my own kitchen from the middle of March till July 30th of in 2020. So, and then that was actually the beginning of the Food Brigade because I ended up having somebody who reached out to me because they knew that I was cooking these meals, and I was on social media to see if anybody needed help, and that's how everybody found me. And I had somebody who called me up because they had USDA boxes coming and said, "Hey, do you want some? You can cook with these." So I went, I think I picked up like 75 the first time.
Wow.
And then 2 weeks later, I went down. These were 20-pound boxes of produce. Then
Wow.
2 weeks later, he asked me how many I wanted. I said 300. And he said, I can't give you that. That's a quarter of the truck. He said, I'll give you as much as I can. And he gave me 150. The first 75, it took about an hour and a half to get rid of them. This second time I did it, and we had twice as much, they were gone in less than an hour.
Wow. That is amazing. So
Yeah.
that kind of inspired you to open the food pantries. You
Well,
have
what
two.
happened was, yeah, well, what happened was that inspired me to go find more USDA boxes and to try to find food. So I had help with somebody he's actually a mortgage broker. He's not a realtor, but I did mortgages with him. I used him for mortgages, and he ended up being the person who connected me with these food boxes that were being distributed from the Farm to Families program that the USDA had. And then what ended up happening was we found more, I found others, we started getting pallets of them, worked with the municipality in the town next to me, and they were literally delivering them to us on our front steps. We had pallets of food literally delivered to our front steps. We had amazing neighbors. Nobody ever caused an issue. We were giving food out, had a food stand set up, but it became too much, connected with the church, and started doing distributions from the parking lot. Then in by the time that it was really during the prime of COVID, we actually had connected with a caterer that was doing lunch programs, and they were 35 to 45 pound boxes. And at the height of COVID, we had about 30 partners that we were working with that were distributing food to other people, and we were distributing between 35 and 40 tons of food a week. So it was crazy. It was big. And then, and yeah, and so we went from literally a fruit stand in our driveway to having this big, huge distribution very, very quickly. And then as things changed, we had a drive-through that we were literally packing bags and people were driving through. We were putting the food into their, that was simultaneous with the boxes. We were not only distributing boxes to other groups, but we were distributing to families that I had been feeding for about a year at that point. So, but it had only grown. The need was great. People between losing their jobs or getting, reduced hours and not making the incomes that they were making, people were really hurting and they needed the help. And, we saw that the need was great, and I needed to do something. So,
Yeah, well, thank you for what you do. Karen, tell us how you integrate your real estate business with your community involvement. That's got to be a little difficult, I'm sure.
it is. I'm not going to say I actually integrated it. I'm going to say that the real estate community has been incredibly supportive. With the recognitions with the local board, the state board, and then the national, then the NAR. It you don't do this sort of thing to get accolades and awards, but if they come with money, that helps tremendously. But it validates what you do. It does help when it comes to grant writing. It does help when it comes to getting donated money to do what we do, to run the operation and be able to cover our costs. But as far as, I've been very lucky because I have a very supportive office. Coldwell Banker has been very supportive. They've been, I get the invitations to all of the big stuff because they've been really very, very supportive. But I was also really lucky because this year I don't know how I did it, but I was also on the Circle of Excellence on Bronze Award. So I don't know how exactly I did that, but I've been able to do it because I have a lot of help and I have a lot of support.
That's a good thing. And you give back you give and you get back. It's very true. I have watched your YouTube video. Very inspirational. I've heard some good interviews on there. Is there any one story you'd like to share with the audience?
I'm really lucky. I get special stories almost every day. I mean, I'm not. It's pretty amazing. But I'm going to tell you one of the things that it impacted us greatly was we had a bunch of letters that had been written for us, and one of our clients she poured her heart out, and she basically had told us all the struggles that she was having in her personal life. She had, at that time, she had a husband who was using, and all of their money was not going to food. None of their money was going to food. And she was literally dumpster diving. And as a result of the Food Brigade, she was no longer dumpster diving and had healthy, nutritious food to put on her table and feed herself with. The better part of the story is she's now a single household instead of a two-family household, which is better for her. But it was that sort of story to hear that you can make that sort of impact to somebody. You know, the special stories I have are always a little bit heartbreaking. They kind of tug, you know, at the heartstrings. They, you know, dropping off food to families with several children, that the kids are running to you like you have Christmas presents, and they're running to you because you have bags of food, and you put the bags down and they just like reach in and grab whatever they can find and are opening things up before mom even brings it into the, I mean, it's very, I don't even know the word for it, because it's really beyond description. It's really something you have to feel to really understand it. But it's a very moving and very emotional, and it feels good to do it, but it can definitely make you cry.
Oh yeah, yeah. One of the videos on the video that I watched, I saw that one gentleman, and he was,
I
that
love
was,
oh
yeah,
I
it got my heart there for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's, you don't realize until when you're doing something like this, you're so involved into the operations and making sure everything's running right, making sure that everything's stocked and everything's the way it should be. But when you stand back and you actually see people walking in and their expressions on their face, because you have everything they need. We have produce, we have milk, we have meat, we have bread, we have desserts. So it's not like they're just going in and getting, you know, cans of beans and soup and rice and whatnot. They're getting food that they like. You know, a mom being able to bring their child in, and if if that child wants a box of cookies, mom doesn't have to say no because she doesn't have the money to pay for it. You know, so it's been a very, you know, it's I love what I do. I'm very passionate about it. I'm very fortunate that I get to do this.
Yeah, thank you. So I know that you've been recognized for the Good Neighbor Award with the National Association of Realtors, and I'm sure, because I know your heart is good, that awards aren't what you're looking for, but because of that, there's been probably more than one person that has reached out to you because they've been inspired. Do you have any stories with that?
I actually had somebody who was, um, she actually was the Good Neighbor Award winner behind me at the local level, and you know, she came over to me, and I have to tell you, she made me feel like she was like meeting some, like I was some celebrity she was meeting.
You are.
Um, they really, there was they put a lot of stuff out there for us um, for at the, like, not just the NAR level, but at the state level and at the county level. They've really done a lot of press releases. They've been really supportive. We were just voted the for the second year in a row best nonprofit in Bergen County. And now we're actually located in three separate counties. We have four locations. But what the video that you saw, we really only had the three. Now we opened up our flagship. That's not on the video, and that's really something to see, because it's set up like it's a market like setting. We're trying to get away from the use of the word pantry, and we're making it a community market. So, but as far as with getting those types of awards, you know, I think that I'll have people that'll reach out and they'll be like, well, what can I do? How can I help? Or how do I do, like, I don't know how you do what you do. How do you have the time to do what you do? There is no such thing as time, but that's like, what is that saying? Like, if you want something to get done, ask somebody who's really busy, they'll get it done.
Yeah.
right? It's kind of nonstop. I don't realize how much my knees and my ankle and my back hurt until I pull in my driveway. When I pull in my driveway, I get out of the car like I'm 70 years old, but all day long I'm running around like I'm 25, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds like it. Well, let's see here. Um, you just answered one of the questions I was going to ask you
Okay.
yeah, about the flagship, the community food center. Is that what you call it? From
It's
Louis
a community market.
Market. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, and you kind of answered another question. Is there any advice you could give others who are wanting to do something like you've started?
Volunteer. It really starts out by volunteering. A lot of people, they don't know where to start, and there's a lot of organizations that need good volunteers, people that actually want to do what they're doing, put their heart in, and take ownership of what they do. I think that volunteering is important. I think that if somebody doesn't have the time to volunteer, donate. Donate some dollars to nonprofits. Being in this world, I realize how difficult it is. It's a challenge to, especially when you're a brand new nonprofit. We're only in our fourth year, so the money doesn't come flowing to you, no matter how big you get, no matter how fast it is. Other people look and they're like, well, you're only 4 years old. I'm going to give it to somebody who's 54 years old. An organization that's older, even if I might be making more of an impact. But I think that it's important for somebody who wants to get involved and do good. It does not take a lot to make an impact on somebody's day. It doesn't take a lot to smile, share just a few kind words or a nice gesture. You know, you don't realize the impact that you could be having on somebody. You don't know what type of day somebody may be having. One of the things that we've really learned is learning much more patience and having more compassion towards people, because when they make that phone call to come to a food pantry, that is the last phone call they want to make. They're calling you out of desperation. And I have to talk to people that are making a phone call that they don't want to make, and they feel like they have to justify it, and they feel like they have to explain everything to you. And I just say to them, look, we're just here to help you. We're not here to judge you. We're not here to ask you questions. We're here to help you. If you're making that call, you must really need the help, and we just want to help you. We're not going to judge you. We're not going to look at the shoes you're wearing, the car you're driving, if your nails are done or whatever. We're going to help you. And that makes such a difference in somebody's world, because looking from the outside, you have no idea what people are going through, and you don't know what type of day they're having. So as far as my words of advice to anybody that wants to, whether or not they want to get involved in volunteering and doing something, it's be a good person, be a good human. Volunteering is part of it, but it's not the end all be all. I think that what's more important is for people, especially in today's day, is to look you know, at somebody, and instead of looking at what you have different, look at what you have that's alike. A lot of people, I don't know what it's like by you, but in New Jersey, people live paycheck to paycheck, and people live way outside their means. And as a result of that, you put yourself in a much stronger position that when you aren't getting that income, that you're going to be struggling. And the first thing that, everybody has the right to have, shelter over their heads and food in their bellies and clothes on their back. But not everybody gets it, because they don't want to be judged. They don't want to be, it might be a cultural thing. It might just be a pride thing. You know, how many wives come and they say, my husband doesn't know. My husband would be really upset if they knew I was coming here, but I got to put food on my table. And you smile at that person when that person walks in, and you just are engaged with them like a normal person, instead of being like, oh, here I am giving you food. And you treat them like they're normal, and you treat them like, a fellow human. You make a difference in their world.
I love
you know
that. Yeah, you gotta
So,
be nice to people. You really do.
yeah,
Doesn't matter. You can't judge them because you never know. You know, you haven't walked a mile in their shoes.
that's right. That's right. When
Exactly
somebody's pulling out of the side street, let them in. Why
right.
not?
Karen, can you tell us how individuals can support you?
They can go to foodbrigade.org. We have a donate button. That's a really important one. The biggest support for us is financially. Uh, we are very fortunate. We have a tremendous amount of volunteers, but we do pay to keep the lights on, and we do pay for all of those things that we need on a daily basis to help feed people. So they can find us on social media. They can find us on Facebook, on an Instagram. But the easiest way is at Food Brigade. Our email address is HQ, like headquarters, at foodbrigade.org. And they could always go to the website, either send me an email or make a phone call, and always available.
Okay, that's great. Um, Gosh, you're quite. The questions I've asked you, I have more written down here, and you've done such a good job in answering. So, is there anything else that you want to share with the audience?
Well, I'm just going to say that real estate, one of the things that I learned with all of my awards through real estate with the NAR is that, real estate agents tend to be more, they tend to put in more volunteer hours than other organizations, right? Other uh, occupations. And I think that's a very important thing because if you're a real estate agent, you do, to a certain extent, get to make your own hours. So I would just try to tell people, if you have time, if you're passionate about something, whether it's food, because I will tell you, a lot of people who love food and food insecurity issues are also all these dog rescues, right? But everybody can find something that they're passionate about, something that makes them feel good about what you do. Because this isn't just something, I don't do what I do just to make other people feel good. I do feel good about what I do. I do feel I feel very rewarded in what I do. And I would recommend for somebody to just get a little bit of that feeling because it feels really good to help. And whether it's of your time or of your pocketbook, it feels good to know that you've made an impact and that you've made a difference.
So true. Yeah, I volunteer a lot of my time and help people in recovery. And I run a group on Wednesday nights. It's an hour and a half. And it's amazing some of the people I've seen come in and what a difference they make 23 weeks later. After they leave the group, they're just a different person. So,
Right, and it's non-judgmental, and you don't, people are good on the inside, and sometimes they just need a little help finding themselves. Whether it's, poverty is a little bit different because poverty, that can launch a whole host of problems. But it's very important to have people who do because not everybody's going to do it. So it's important to have some people that do. So I commend you for what you do, for taking that time and caring for those people. It's nice. It's wonderful.
it's all about, yeah, giving back.
Right.
Thank you so much, Karen, for being here. We are so honored that you were on. I hope you have an amazing weekend. It's Labor Day
Thank
weekend, so it's an extra day off. And
No,
thank
not
you
really. Not really.
Neither am I. And to our audience, thank you for tuning in. Karen, let's stay in touch.
All right, great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.